By now, I'm sure you're aware of another flamingo that got caught up in Dubai. Then they paraded her fake sob story around to pressure Dubai into allowing her to come back to the United States and avoid serving the 1-year prison sentence that she was given for acting like a Tasmanian devil while the media covered her story like she's St. Mary. Yeah, the spicy Latina got sassy at a Dubai airport. They sentenced her to a year to cool down. But after the feminist-led organization Detaining Dubai sent out a press release, got all the American blogs and media to cover the story in a way to make the criminal the victim, Dubai allowed the woman to leave the country and return to the US. Take a second to make sure that you're subscribed to the channel and click the notification bell for all updates. Here's the lesson for today. Thou shalt not go to Dubai acting like a spoiled, disrespectful, uncontrollable, entitled American. Whatever happens to you once you go over there acting out of order is your own fault. Do not come sending your half stories through the media, or like the folks would say back in the 20th century, don't have the papers out here writing up these stories to make everybody feel sorry for you, because that's what this organization has done twice within the last few months, attempting to ruin the reputation of a country that did nothing to us Americans. It's a spoiled Americans like Elizabeth, most of these folks women, going over there acting a plumb fool, being rude and disrespectful, and that's how they're getting jammed up. Yeah, they go over there acting like wild zoo animals and then use these heathen stories to outright scare Americans out of going to Dubai. Stop going over there for real, messing things up for the rest of us, and trust me, they do not want them in their country anyway. They want respectful people that know how to act, and as Americans, we're outsiders. We have to respect that, or just stay home in America. And that's exactly what this young woman right here should have done. 21-year-old Elizabeth Polanco de los Santos, a resident of Bronx, New York. She was traveling back home to New York from a trip to Turkey with her friend. They chose a flight with a 10-hour layover in Dubai instead of a flight with a layover in Paris. It was that flight from Turkey to America with a stop in the UAE that got her there on July 14, 2023, where she went through airport security in Dubai. Elizabeth had on a compression garment, basically a really tight waist trainer, because apparently she recently had a BBL, a cosmetic surgery. She was told to take the waist trainer off because she had to be searched. Why? Well, because you're in another country and they will search you to make sure that you're not smuggling any illegal substances. For one, Elizabeth was already mad and had an attitude because she didn't want to take off that waist trainer. This garment that she had on is hard to put on and hard to take off. In addition, apparently she was still healing from the surgery, so it feels more comfortable for her to have that compression garment on, as her skin and her wounds are still healing. Taking the garment off can cause discomfort or may even be painful, depending on how long ago this surgery was. So being told that she had to take the thing off for the search, that was the starting point for the meltdown. Dubai airport security took her to a private female booth with female officers where the women took the waist trainer off. That's because she said that she couldn't do it herself. Elizabeth said the women gave her nasty stares and claims they laughed at her. So now she's more angry because she's thinking that they're laughing at her or believing they're looking at her in disgust. Then when the search was over, she needed help to get the waist trainer back on because depending on how tight it was, it could take 2 people to get this garment back on. So she started screaming for her friend to come help her and claimed she gently tapped the female security guard because she needed help, and then they hauled her off to jail. As soon as I heard this, I knew this story wasn't the whole truth. They left out a lot and even switched up the words to make it seem like this woman wasn't being aggressive and didn't put hands on anybody. She was arrested for assault, and this weird organization Detaining Dubai told everybody in America that she was arrested for, quote, gently tapping a woman. Now, I was born at night, but not last night. This is why you always have to analyze what you're reading and also research to see who's writing these reports and where did they get the information from. Moving forward, if you see any quotes from Detaining Dubai, beware of what you're reading. They told the same ridiculous story about the sassy trucking lady who got stuck out there for some months. Yes, this is the part that no one told you. This organization is led by feminists. They wrote the press release here. They sent it to American media. This is why every single blog, every single newspaper, every TV station and cable network repeated the same distorted story, leading Americans to believe that if you go to an airport in Dubai and gently tap a security guard, you're going to get a year in prison. They're not telling you if you put hands on one of them, if you physically attack somebody, you will be sentenced to jail. And even in America, you can get serious charges for the same offense. I mean, this organization, they changed this whole story up to make Elizabeth a victim. Like she didn't do anything, she only gently tapped the female officer. We all know this woman was hysterical because 1, she didn't want to be searched. She was uncomfortable because she's still healing from cosmetic surgery. She was frustrated that they even made her go through with it. She was thinking that she could protest it and give some excuse and they'll leave her alone. But nah, that didn't work. She was insecure about all of it, so she was thinking that she was being picked on. Didn't matter that she couldn't speak their language, so she had no clue what they said. She only made assumptions. And even if they did say something, that did not give her the authorization to put hands on those women. Then if all of that wasn't enough, she took the tight behind compression garment off, but had to get help to put it back on. So what did she do? Instead of remaining calm and going through the process, she started having a meltdown. This woman was having a full-out tantrum, started kicking and screaming like a little 2-year-old, and then went even further. She put hands on a female security guard because she's from the Bronx, and you already know they got that Timberland boot energy. Cardi B's little cousin really wanted to fight that day, but now they want us all to believe she gently tapped somebody. Like, cut it out, she hit that lady. Then she messed around and found out that Timberland boot energy is acceptable in the Bronx and throughout America, but not in Dubai. I'm talking about that sassy attitude, that obnoxious demeanor of a Bronx Dominican or Puerto Rican woman. She's no concrete rose or dandelion. For those who don't know, I'll tell you. The Bronx Bonita Chiquita is just as out of order as Starkeisha. So Chiquita was barking like a little chihuahua and started growling like a pit bull. Thought she could jump bad, but she tried the wrong people in the wrong place. Then you all know American media went working overtime trying to make this woman out to be as much as a victim as possible, instead of letting everybody know that she was an out of order, unruly, disrespectful, entitled woman. Look at these headlines. New York City college student sentenced to a year in Dubai prison after touching airport security guard's arm. Or this one right here. New York student faces Dubai jail after humiliating treatment. And here's another one. New York college student being held in Dubai for, quote, touching female security guard. And they're using these words to try to minimize what this woman did. And it made it seem like she was being punished unjustly.
Go ahead and take a look at these pictures here. There are several pictures of the student. She is 21-year-old Elizabeth Palenco de los Santos, and she was detained in Dubai back in July. Now, she was accused of assaulting and insulting an airport security screener there. An organization that is called Detained in Dubai, which helps foreigners who are traveling in the United Arab Emirates, says the charges against her are bogus and that it is very common practice in Dubai in order to extort money out of travelers. Elizabeth was traveling with a friend and they had a layover in Dubai. Now, when she went through security, she says she had to take off a medical brace that she was wearing around her waist. And she says some female screeners got rough with her in the process of that. When they did allow her to put the brace back on, she says she needed her friend's help and that she was crying, and she nudged one of the screener's arms in order to get to her friend so that her friend could help her. And that is when she was detained.
Lie.
So they had everybody believing this 21-year-old college student was so sweet and innocent, and Dubai detained her for no reason at all. They used that narrative to gather support and get the U.S. to push to get her back. They had all these flamingos on social media talking about that's why they're not going to Dubai. Let's be honest. A lot of them can't even afford the flights to go unless they get hired by one of those guys out there to pay them to be their toilet. And then the ones afraid who can't afford it. This scares them because they know they're unruly and disrespectful, just like this hyena. So they could also go over there and get jammed up. Back to this organization that was in charge of promoting the narrative. They reported that she was falsely accused of, quote, assaulting and insulting Dubai airport staff. The founder of that organization called for increased travel warnings to U.S. citizens. Elizabeth, who was only there for a layover, she ended up being there for a couple of months and claimed that she lost $50,000 in expenses and lawyers, and was told she had to do 1 year in prison, but if all went well, she would be let off and allowed to book a flight out of the UAE. Well, fortunately for Elizabeth, all went well, and she was able to leave Dubai and go back home.
Well, now to the latest on the story of a young local woman who found herself on the wrong side of the law while traveling overseas.
Linda Schmidt has been following all the twists and turns, and she joins us live from our newsroom with the latest. Linda.
Yeah, hi there, Steve and Teresa. Well, first of all, we are told that she is from the Bronx, and yesterday she was sentenced to 1 year in prison in Dubai. Well, now we are hearing that sentence has been suspended, and she is on her way home to the U.S.
According to this organization, Elizabeth was humiliated, suffered months of being forced to stay in an expensive country, pay expensive lawyers, and missed out on her university studies. They call Dubai's justice system backwards. Never mind this woman's out of order, unruly behavior, that wasn't backwards, but being unaccountable and punished for her bad behavior was backwards. This organization said the woman who committed a crime against another woman was being hustled.
An organization that is called Detained in Dubai, which helps foreigners who are traveling in the United Arab Emirates, says the charges against her are bogus and that it is very common practice in Dubai in order to extort money out of travelers.
Yeah, they tried to paint the same narrative that they did with the other woman. They said that she was being hustled. But in that same paragraph, they also said Elizabeth tried to pay off the female security guards in order to get those women to drop the case. But guess what? These women that so-called tried to hustle her, they would not accept the money. The woman over this organization said that often allegations are used by complainants to secure large settlement payments to close the case. But again, why would you be saying this if it's not true? If it's all about the money and the women are just trying to swindle her, why didn't they accept the money Elizabeth offered them to drop the charges? It's because it wasn't about the money. It was the principle. She went over there with her spicy Dominican Puerto Rican attitude straight from the Bronx, had the nerve to put her hands on one of the women, and then turned into a complete victim. Yeah, this isn't about money. It's about disrespect and accountability. They sentenced her to 1 year in prison after making her pay a $2,200 fine. But look what happened at the end of the day. She was still able to skip out on that prison sentence. Yeah, the U.S. stepped in and got this spicy delinquent back to the States. Listen, if you did what Elizabeth did at TSA, no matter if it was JFK, Hartsfield Jackson, or LAX, George Bush, and Ronald Reagan, you're going to jail too. I've covered so many of those stories. Yes, you act up at TSA in the US, you're going to jail. It's not just Dubai. And even if you go to other countries in the West, like for instance Colombia, with one of those garments on, they will search you too. A lot of countries will do that, including America. Yeah, if you go through TSA and you had on something, they're going to tell you to take it off. And if you want to fly, people usually comply. But if you start assaulting a TSA officer over here in the US, you're going to jail too. I don't know why they make it seem like we don't have rules here at all. Disorderly conduct, battery, all of that is against the law here too. And Elizabeth, you deserved it. This is your learning lesson. The organization was out here saying poor girl this, poor girl that, and she was too young to be going through this. Number one, she is not a girl. She's a 21-year-old woman, a woman who put herself in this situation. She did that. And if she's old enough for surgery, old enough to travel across the world, old enough to raise her hand to another woman or anybody, then she was old enough to suffer the consequences. Now, you know the usuals defended her. While Elizabeth was still detained over there in Dubai, the sassy truck lady tried to extend her 15 minutes of fame. She was on IG going back and forth with people, still not taking accountability for her own actions that got her hemmed up in Dubai months before Elizabeth. Shout out to longtime subscriber of the channel, Jojo Rania. Jojo Rania made this comment on IG under one of the blogs. He came in there with common sense. He said, y'all are really mad at Dubai because Americans are over there acting a fool? Shaking my head. Y'all really just hate accountability. Right away, this random rebellious woman right here, she was defending Elizabeth by responding to JoJo saying touching his arm is acting a fool. Now, if you've been listening to this whole story, you would know that these charges against Elizabeth did not come from her putting hands on a man. It was the female security guards that pressed charges on her. But again, for these misandrists, of course, it's always a man. The sassy trucking lady responded to him, why your black self siding with Arabs? Dubai is corrupt. And then he responded with the truth. He told her everyone knows you was over there acting up. They had you on video acting wild in the Caribbean too. And you see what her answer was? She told him you are the problem. Now this is hilarious. She's calling a law-abiding citizen the problem when she was the one going from country to country getting into disputes. From getting into it with friends in Puerto Rico way before she went to Dubai acting up over there and the government had to get her out of trouble. But of course, she couldn't say it wasn't true because it's on video. Instead, she told him that he was the problem. So the person over there acting a fool isn't the problem. The problem is the person commenting on the person acting a fool. I mean, they're really crazy. They say anything. Let's go ahead and get the conversation started. They're ignoring how Elizabeth got into this altercation with other women. Why did they ignore her behavior that got her into this mess? Special thank you to Felix. I appreciate you, Felix, for all of your support, as well as Tiffany. Don't forget that you can support this channel as well. Links to Cash App and PayPal are below. Ladies, fellas, want a balanced analysis, want the truth from a woman's perspective? Then you're going to want to subscribe to this channel and don't forget to like and share.